Yeah, man, this is it. Welcome to another episode. Episode ngobani.
Welcome to the next one.
Yeah.
Welcome to this one.
Yeah, welcome to this one.
Yeah.
Ephondweni, the podcast. This is the network. What is born? And shout out to everyone that keeps on subscribing. We appreciate you, and we are cooking something. As soon as we know that it's ready for it to be dished, my name is Yakim, the master builder.
Yes,
Nothing
sir.
there. I'm with the certified gatekeeper.
Hey, what's up? It's Poetic Soul. It's the queen. It's the mother. It's the sister. It's the natural black woman. That's what I'm about, hey?
Yes.
I find that I just realized how beautiful it is to feel beautiful in my black skin, my dreadlocks, my unpainted nails, and just understand how royal that is. To actually be real when I say, I wake up like this. I wake up like
But
this.
be
I'm not trying to
careful.
diss anyone out there, guys.
But be
I'm not trying to
careful.
diss anyone.
The
I'm really
transgender
just...
community is coming for you.
And not a new world order.
Oh man, it
It
becomes
feels
something
good.
else.
It feels good.
Look, I think it's beautiful that, as people, we are comfortable in our skins, because the thing of how you treat yourself and how you beautify yourself, because it doesn't mean when you're natural you do not beautify yourself.
No, you definitely have to.
Yes, and it's like natural beauty is associated with less, cheap, not affording,
Yes, sir.
poor, and all of that. And I think there's a problem with that. A tree is a tree. The tree is not poor because you did not put lights on it, Christmas lights on that tree, and they are flickering and they are flashing. A tree is still a tree with or without those, and it still has the same
I think
significance.
I think we're told when Yakim, the truth is I grew up like this. Mama who's not who's never really cared about makeup and whatnot. No. She was happy with being herself. But I fucking makeup because it's a special occasion, and but really naturally she wasn't into that. And I'm liking I'm really stepping into myself, and I know that it's because my parents are no longer here, but I realized that being who I am is a proper celebration of who they were. Yes. And when I step out and I realize that my dad never lied, I said, I light up even more, and I get to realize that there's nothing wrong. Just because she was, I mean, she is that person. She's natural. She likes herself the way that she is, and just because she's open and clear about your opinions, like to diss about her. But I realized, mani, kamanya maxesha siyakhatywa as these people that look this way, sebevuka, sikhatywa simply because abanye abantwana bayasokola uvuka ngela way, because uthe vuka funeka khawuleze yofaka makeup because ubaby bakakaboni into lesixaka.
That's gonna intro
It's admin to really have to try that hard, and also they realize that my skin is taking longer to age than some of women my age. Yes. My hair is not hairline is not receding as much as abanye, because I keep my hair loose most of the time. Because it's wild, but most of the time, really, I'm just out here being me and having fun with my life. And I think that's also something to be promoted about blackness. Really, really, black is beautiful, and everything else is really just common.
It's crazy how...
Come on.
It's crazy. We live in a very interesting era where people can smell you from the picture. Because that's what really happened.
That's what happened, yeah.
It's like we smelled you from. I'm talking about your parents, man. I think it was great ceremony that we went
Listen,
to.
the cow.
Yes,
cow.
the cow. And then the artists were the last ones to leave. They had to be asked.
Listen, the artist, I had to. But eventually, and I wasn't drinking. So I had to observe everything. And I think we also really, with my siblings, tried to carry out the energy of my parents.
Yes.
And we succeeded because you couldn't, as I observed what was going on, nobody would think because they were present. Their energy was strong and present. But at 10 o'clock, the artists were still singing. I was like, guys, it
was a party, y'all.
It was beautiful. It was really
great,
nice. And I was grateful that the artists showed up because those were, that's a part of my life my dad really loved from when I started to when he eventually, passed on. Ebezithandi artists that I hang around with. So I was glad that they were there to bring their energy through. And I know that my dad was pleased with that.
Yes, it was really a celebration. And I don't know who I was speaking to about I had met Uzimsto and Zimsto.
But she didn't come through that one.
Yes,
didn't come
not
through.
X.
Didn't come
through. As culprits.
Yeah.
And also, we're shooting in a different venue. Shout out to Xolani Faku. This is a great space artists can use for rehearsals and things like that. And I love what he's doing with this place because it's like,
and everything here being touched by his hands.
Man.
It's artistry all the way. This is an expression of who he is.
I remember when we were coming up, he was the first one to really accept us and give us space. And it wasn't like this at that time, but you could see that he's working towards something.
People outside,
so we used to come here and accompany instruments, and then we'll play. It used to be a festival, of young artists because Kubakulua Betu, we had not gotten that. He was one of Abakulua that.
I think he's truly one of the gods that need to be celebrated because there's people like him, there's people like Utas Kota you can never be a musician in PE or an artist in PE without ever having gone through. So that they are a rite of passage.
Yes.
If then there's a problem with you. If there's still an issue with you. So I think such giants need to be celebrated constantly, consistently. We always need to remember and it's nice to be able to come back to the space and see the growth in it. Okay, and feel the growth in it. Feel it.
And also, the fact that they're jazz musicians, specifically the two people, Ubongani Tulwana, Scotta, Kora X, Noxolani Faku, but they are receptive to other genres. That we as younger people at that time were nibbling on. They didn't basivalele ngaphandle.
About them embracing. I'm remembering a conversation Susuke Mont, Siamba no Kora and other musicians. And we had a discussion coming from East London, into Sia Ofrempa Singena Sizanga track in. That conversation had started Panga Colchester is singing. And we're speaking about the difference between an artist and a musician. And I was saying, for me, which Utakora agreed with me, that for me, a musician is a mathematician. They understand the mathematics of music. However, an artist is the one that is driven, that is creative outside of the mathematics. Because you find that there's a lot of musicians who will always be attached to the formality of music outside of this box, right? But also you find artists like a Dakora, like a X, right? Like a Zimwawana who will play with the pots, right? And find the music there. Bensando Tingo, I was listening to Momo Fresh, my Mona Yusuf, to Sando figure. Guys, have you listened to Fresh? I was listening to Momo Fresh unala ndo as introduce ngayo xa ithanda ungena stage. I don't know in what language it is, because she's a person who's very rooted in her roots, right? So uyathanda uyicula la ngoma, enza a poem over it. There's a line there, like city, singing is not about the song. Yes. It's about the sounds. I remember that my grandmother used to heal ailing men by, just by pulling out a note out of her, and she would heal them, because it's the sound that really heals the people.
Yes.
It's not necessarily that the song is perfectly written, melody, but it's where it's coming from that actually has the healing effect. And that's what, to me, true artistry is about. It's understanding that poetry on its own might attract to the elitists who are more about the art of language, yes. How deep the language goes, how you curve it here and there, how many lines, how many verses, and. But an artist will understand that poetry is even in the rhythm.
Yes. Artistry is as much as South City was ubungoma, it's you allowing the creative universe to live in you, and then you become that vessel that shows people that there's greater life out there.
Yeah.
Because there are songs that you listen to and you ask yourself, man,
a book to read. A book to be read that I'm recommending. Okay. Star Book by Ben
You always loved that
My
book.
God. Listen to how he speaks about the village of the artists, and you will understand what an artist truly is. An artist is a social commentator. An artist deal with the psyche of a community. You'll get it from Ben Okri. Yes. When he describes how these people used to create these pieces of art in the city center. Yes. And people would go and view the works. When they view the works, there's an emotion that is evoked out of them. They will chain themselves to this piece of art. They will start crying. They will start laughing, because a particular piece of art has a spirit sayo. Yes. Yeah, there's the soul of that. Songs and they would whisper them to each other, and then the song would travel and travel and travel, and somehow it dictates on something that is coming, or something that is, or something that was. Every time we create pieces of art, we need to ask ourselves that question: why am I creating this? Is it about the now, the past, the future? Am I providing a solution, or am I presenting a problem that people need to engage with? Because if there's no intention behind your art, it's not art.
Intention is key.
Yes.
I wanted to give you your flowers before seeing again.
Oh man,
I had said to Xolani Fako, I don't think I'm mentioning this for the first time on this platform. Xolani Fako knows him. We're talking. Yeah. Silly, we're talking. We are all over, like we're hugging each other and whatnot. I'm like, but the last time we born on you too, Sasipa Ules. Yeah, bon. So I want to reiterate that, and I want you to know it and be intentional also about it, that you become that glue to all of us, because you have these people who are coming from different spaces, as much as it's all art, but normally they don't socialize together. But most times when they are in one room, in one space, you are always the reason that those people are there. So I lose
I don't think I lose even if I wanted to. I realized what year was it when I sold I sold all the furniture in my house. Disabona at that time. That realized, hey, different people from different backgrounds, bring it to the cipher, and I decided, just to effect a bit of change in my life. Desando quit from state attorney at the time, and I sold your furniture.
So many not so smart decisions you've made, ne?
But they were big lessons in my life. Big lessons. And ndayithengisa le furniture yathengwa nge-800 ifurniture yendlu yami yonke. I've got a 2-bedroom flat yayinga-emdanga ke la flat, and I didn't care because it was either ndiyayithengisa okanye ndiyibeka pha phandle abantu bazixholela.
Okay.
So ndayithengisa because I didn't want to be called again kuthiwa wena ushiye ibhedi ngaphandle nto ndashiyeka nomatrasi ndondlala la matrasi. The day that I did that, nobody came back to my house, right? That was the day I learned that there's a connection between the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual. So once you take things out physically, you've also taken people out physically, right? You no longer have space for all of this. But what happened?
Taking out the clutter.
Yeah, but what happened soon after that? I think only one person came back to my house that evening. It was Usia Samazonke.
Okay.
And that was it. But what happened soon after that was I started acquiring furniture again. Now I'm starting my life afresh because that was the whole reason for me. And I realized in about 4 months down the line, yes, I went and bought a sleeper couch.
Yes.
I was intentional about it. When the sleeper couch, and
when you were still central, yes.
Sleeper couch. And then I realized, man, and everything that I do, even when it seeks to dismiss the people, in my space, ndizayenza into eyi-one ezandibonisa uba abantu babhilonga apha. Because as a sleeper couch, I need to sleep. I could have just bought a simple couch, but I would take a sleeper couch. The next thing now, this one wants to sleep over. I'm like, no, fully sleeper couch, ulale. Oh Lord. And then it started again. I moved out of my place. And again, I was intentional. And moved back to my place again. My sister, why don't you take these things, because take these things and make your house a home again. I went back to my place, excited. Toaster engine, I pack into my flat, and then I realized, then back 2-3 weeks down the line, I phone I can't avoid people. Why? Teacups they're 16. And for me, that's just what it is. Do you know what I mean? I've always now, kuzo zonke ezi lessons, I've always noted that gift yam sisihlwele sabantu. That's where my wealth lies. That's where I get to pour myself over, and that's where I get to understand who I am amongst a lot of people, and also that ability to allow them to just be. Because abafana babantu udla ngotsho athi ziraki zonke ezi and ziraki yobona as different, don't know, and I appreciate that about them. Exactly, naturally, but around me, they can tolerate each other, have conversations, build on, and create new relationships and find new ways of relating with each other. So I appreciate that you noted that. And it is something I humble myself to all the damn time, that it's my understanding that if I am to be called a healer, one, my healership is in my ability to speak to people's hearts. It's not necessarily through poetry, but just being able to open my mouth and speak to your heart is one of my gifts. And two, my gift of being able to heal through my words will never have impact if I don't have people around me. So I honor myself to the people that surround me, and I honor myself to the people that leave as well, because that's just the journey of my life, that people come and go, and they go because they must allow new people to come in, and I forever love. So thank you for noting that. That's what it is, yeah.
The awards, Eastern Cape, was it Eastern Cape Awards?
I think it's called the Eastern Cape Arts and Culture Awards. Yeah,
Eastern Cape Arts and Culture Awards were held. Was it last week or something? And I saw I heard the announcement. I saw a couple of people that I know who received the awards. I never really followed the awards to say I know what's the criterion. And next to the criterion, how it's done, really.
There is a time to nominate. Call got to nominate.
Okay.
But I must say that i-reach yayo is not that wide. Okay. I do feel that ezinye izinto ezenziwa eburhulumenteni, they fail to reach the people, because I don't know why they don't use radio, why they don't, izinto zabo ziphelela kwi-institutions zabo. So you'll find that uzofumana i-email esuka kwa-Desiree okanye i-email esuka e-MBTC njalo njalo. But wider reach ayikenzeki
Okay.
to create a hype out of the things that our government is doing that are really good. So ngaske mna if manofumana a PR stance around izinto zabo such that they know with confidence that yonke lento siyenzayo it reaches the people and so Zona they've been around I think probably 5-6 years now.
Yeah,
It's been a
I've
minute.
heard of people
Mhm.
getting them, but for me it was dope just to see people that I know getting the awards.
Episode9,
You know,
the son of theatre. Yes,
Sukehudi
Sasuke.
yakhe.
Yeah.
Sukehudi yakhe, NU6,
Yes.
Motherwell. And also I saw Luphelo Kodwa.
And I'm not familiar
Luphelo
with
Kodwa
Lupelo.
is a comedian from Ekong,
Oh wow. Okay.
You know, he's changing how poetry is being perceived in the BCM area. Because recently he just filled up a casino. What's this place?
Comedy,
he's a
the
comedian.
poetry, comedy.
Comedy, sorry, comedy. The influencer.
No, but again,
Hopefully
someone poetry.
Okay.
But then Satinzayo started off as
Mbuzo Buciko.
as a poet, right?
Yeah.
So mhlambi yabantu
So
bayazi
naxa
abazabidibana.
engahlekisanga lo mina uTsepiso uzaba yipoet.
Uzathi hayi man be poet tonight.
You know, so you know it's dope, but then I believe and feel that in what you're saying when we're talking about reach, we need someone with an artistic mind. We know that sometimes departments are cash strapped and whatnot, but they can have someone on retainer or someone who they consult with. They understand whenever they're gonna do a project that must reach people. You know, I look with print media, the fascination of the government having paperwork, physical papers and whatnot, apply a job, Z83 and all of those things. I think that time is far gone. You know, I believe that we need to go to where people live. We are in a space where now we need to have community centers within key areas around the Eastern Cape or around South Africa, like we see Imendi Arts Center, you know, which for me, Imendi Arts Center is dope that we have it, but then I'm also worried that before we spoke about Imendi Bottle Store Eparin, there was meant to be called Art Center in Motherwell, and as we speak, it's a church now, because kwafika abantu bavela bafaka i-roof bathini baqala icawa ngoba kwakuthiwe it needs to be demolished because yakhiwe wrong, because they commissioned students to actually plan the thing, so they needed $1 million. Emva kwayo, because Imako was a temporary thing. It's something that has to do with housing in Motherwell.
Sure.
So it's like, okay, cool. We'll give you that room ipa for now so that you operate kwazi obani corner. You are here. This is like an interim structure in Ikuso. From here on, niyahamba nizaya kulanda uyakhiwayo.
Okay.
And that was around like 2004. 2004, 5, uyapha 2006. And then kwakhiwa lawe azange iqityu. The Mendi Art Center started intensifying from 2010. You see the space that the Motherwell Art Center, which was going to be dynamic and be the first of its own, from 2006, uyochongela xesha, it's quite a thing. So I feel if we invest in infrastructure and physical edifices where people can go congregate and do this thing, because if you're talking sports, there are stadiums. You know, if sidlala soccer,
sports center as well.
Yes, if sidlala soccer, siya stadium, siya sports center, siya kwezindawo. But with art, kusetshenziswa lama hall okuthiwa community hall. When you go there, the sound is bad. I understand, because it was not created with art in mind. You know, so if we are going to have the Arts and Culture Awards and things like that, I think we also need to get to a space where we create amabalo dlala for as artists. You understand? So that now when we know indoba sinawo lamabala sinazi league as koyo. Yabo i-league uyaba ngumyalezo. yabo i-league izaba enye into njebe sinazo ezi league sinazo then ke ngoku we can award which is the best league. You understand? Who was great in whatever they were creating within the space. So whenever, because you can't start by rewarding when you do not have a platform to showcase.
I think I hear what you're saying, but I differ a bit. That
Yes.
I think the
important to differ.
the need for the awards is there. You know, how the Steve Biko Center was born.
Yes.
Remember, Steve Biko Foundation. It did not start ngokwakha the actual building that is the center, right? Iqale mos isebenzela esporweni estishini pha kuyoxhenzwa estratweni kwenziwa i-projects kuyiwe ezikolweni kuthweni. Such that when they started now creating facilities, the center itself, when you go to the center, you get to realize that they know who they were creating this for. Every corner.
Underutilized.
It's underutilized, yes, but you realize that every corner of that building was intentional. Xabesithi, we've put as benches apha egadini for those that like to read. It's because they know that abantwana bebesebenza nabo kukho abathanda ufunda bebefika bahlale pha outside their little office bafunda incwadi zabo bazipholele, and they thought of those kids because bebebabona. When they decided ukuthi we're going to have an amphitheater, it's because they had to bring the street culture back to the center now.
Yes,
when they built a studio, it's because they had they had created lovers of hip hop and music out of the projects they were doing. So that's why I celebrate how that came to be, because ngamanye amaxesha xa kusenziwa indawo ungayazi uyenzela ntoni uyenzela bani iculture ayikabikho. It's like you know, step out into a territory that you don't truly understand, right? So now I don't mind that the awards exist, because arts and culture, the movement of it, has always been here. And at some point, it must happen. And those very people who get up and accept those awards are the people that then get to have the influence to speak and use their voices for saying, we need more spaces for people to create. Remember, I, as Gqeberha, maybe I started acting estradweni.
Yes.
But the next one that comes up, the next son of theatre that comes up, cannot experience the same thing. There is a need for this, and that. And then also the cultural change, because even in the Art Center, it's not perfect in its construction. Because yakhiwe mhlambi kukhona okuncama okuthile, because we need to show people that we're delivering, right? But had they taken a bit of time to study the space, gesine backstage facilities within the main theatre, the sound quality, the acoustics would be much better. Yes, they're much better than other community centers, but they would be greater. Do you know what I mean? So zininzi izinto that you still need to look at and consult the community of artists before you start the building. Jonga iNgqushwa Art Center, is it called the Ngqushwa Art Center, the Pedi Art Center?
I don't know.
It is an elephant of some color. You get there, was it 2015, 2016? I got there and those ladies were watching Generations. Just chilling.
It's art.
And every question that you were asking, those ladies was like, yes, not sure. Yes. Because they're not attached to what's happening here.
And also lalando yethu singabantu abamnyama yokuzihlonipha indawo ebekumele basiyazi penetrate.
Exactly.
Is another problem.
Ifuna ke ngokulando artists as active. This is why whenever I do a project, I do my damnest. I pray about it. The people I am going to utilize will only be artists, from the administrator down to the driver. Those people, I make sure that it's only artists that do it, because only artists understand the importance of being on time. Only artists understand it delay your paperwork, but it delay uphuma kwemali, and once we start training each other in that, even the running and the building of these art centers, we must ensure that when we nominate a person to be the Minister of Arts and Culture, that person is an artist. And that at some point might separate, no sports, no arts and culture. Do you get what I mean? Because we will find the importance in that as well at some point. So we mazise money awards.
Yes.
But simultaneously,
yes.
facilities must happen. Let's not wait for one to happen before another can happen. Let's move at the same time, at the same pace, so that Gqeberha, the artists are served.
I think consultation is subjective, ixesha means, or consultation is done when Klambi, this institution, KPI yayo,
Yeah.
consult. And then after they've met KPI yabo, your consultant, and get lendo bebeyifuna, they sort of distance themselves from the artist, you know.
Yeah, you're getting to that cry, yeah, artist.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Siyahamba siyohlala ezimeetingini sincokole sisayine kuthiwa into lento i-register and whatnot to show into bangabana nyani silapha aba bantu they are really serving people.
Ndizayibamba le ntsini ingathi phumele ndibeka le glasi yam apha ne ngoku ndiyibeke kwi-edge ndiyakhangela ndiyava bakweliqala uminci kodwa besivumelene uba sayikhangela ndiyifumanele weapon 10 zathi
sazihla mincoko ishushu bekunuka ngenyawo
izandibamba le nto ndiyibambile le ntsini
sabona ngawusiwa kanje yile ntsini, you know, like people came to me, we had a chat with one of the artists that were commissioned to work at Mandela Bay Theatre Complex, and I always say Opera House. You know, so the guys came through, performed. They wanted to bring their photographers to come and do inanseki photography in the space, probably take videos because they felt, this is the zenith. Apa inanseki PE. It's the ultimate platform. Yeah. You know this thing. You've been reading Ben Okri, and I've never read this book. And I saw you guys. I was like, there's too much hype around this book.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful one.
Yeah, I'm gonna read other books. I go ama. Yeah.
Whoa! Wow.
Yeah, but so they wanted to capture that for themselves, so that when they go out and apply to go to National Arts Festival and other places, they can say, look, I've been doing work and up a clip, and what is man? Up and down this Mandela Bay Theatre Complex and whatnot. So they were not given that opportunity, according to the person that I was speaking to. Apa sinabo abantu aba commissioned to film this thing. Yabo, so asizofuna omnye umuntu ozaphazamisana naba bantu that we commissioned uba mabenze lento. Yabo, so therefore bayirelaxa laa nto babezawuzisa abantu. But now, after the performance, everything was captured by the team commissioned by the theatre complex. Now they do not get access to their own intellectual property. You know what I mean? So you're like, this is the same institution we set and fought with so that we get recognized. Because there was a cry in Dobangabana when you go to Cape Town, when you go to Jozi and other places, the funding thereof abayifumanayo as compared to the opera house at the time that is serving the whole province is not the same. Ingathi thina singo shentorho, yes. And then now you find the same instituta in Bezinjal. What's the story now about the letters?
Also, the letters, it's funding time, right? NAC coupe funding PSP4, Presidential Economic Stimulus. Number 4. So NAC say coupe likolia yaphelelwa on the 31st. Yeah, so by the time this airs, it is obviously a closing date. But obviously, you need reference letters, Payana, and a few artists have come through to say Leza, please write me a letter because now the MBTC or the Opera House, they won't write letters because they're saying you must first guarantee that you're going to use their facilities for your program. And abe umntu eyena intention yakhe was not to use the facility because ufuna uyise lokishini into yakhe, ufuna uphuhlisa kwindawo asuka kuyo. It shocked me to hear that. I don't want to lie. I did try calling the I don't know what his title is, CEO or something. I did try calling, but his phone was off yesterday. And I don't know, because that is the biggest institution in the Eastern Cape, and also the largest opera house in Africa, or the oldest. Yes. So when a child gets a reference letter from there, they're almost getting a stamp of approval. You can't deny that is an artist, because this institution has said they are. It's a space of validation. So when they put a condition to validating artists for possible funding that could come to the Eastern Cape, and yes, man, it seems a bit regressive.
Isn't this a contradiction? Remember, we were sitting and we were part of curators who, was it 2016, the Mandela Bay
Cultural Festival.
And within that, we had street, what you call this, street theater.
Yes.
We had a stage, Ephondweni. The rooftop was utilized.
Yeah.
Opera House was utilized. Athenaeum was utilized. Galarinoco was utilized, and the Donkin Park was utilized.
Yeah.
And then the idea at that time was we need to showcase also the space esikuso. And from then it was Landelayo, we need to extend it to also good township spaces.
Yeah.
So that people can see that Kuko Festival in Nelson Mandela Bay. So now when you say Indoba, go and apply, but we can say, we love what you're doing, but we only love it if you are bringing it to us. Isn't it now a 360 from that? Because during that time, towards the Mandela Bay Cultural Arts Festival, Opera House was like the hub, the center of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Elena's it is a bit regressive way too, and also it doesn't seem to be promoting for artists because people really believe in the Mandela Bay Theatre Complex. Yes. Artists really feel like once they've stepped into that space, so to not validate them, instead their own programs just because they're not going to use your facilities. And also it's a conundrum because it's difficult to access the space currently. You go there, you want to book a space, it's already booked for the whole year by their own programs is the language.
They do their own programs or they outsource now. I don't understand what's going on. I think I need to sit with them.
We do need to have a conversation. The institution does have its own programs, its own festivals and whatnot. They do use people. Like, for instance, I was part of a curation team, Your Women in Arts Manyano. Last year. Yes. I curated International Women's Day, the festival last year, or concert. So it's they do use, they do outsource some services and which is really great and really, really good. I commend them for that. The issue now is that I think for the last 2 years, this year it has changed. Maybe there's more openings for being able to use the space. But you would go and try to find the venue and they would tell you that it's booked for the whole year or the next opening is in October, which is obviously a walk away, which is really good as well, but a walk away from how the space used to operate. The barn used to be accessible, for instance. We started there. So I don't know, man. A lot of artists are crying about its accessibility, its openness, its open door policies that are no longer there since they've become declared. The province is demanding a lot from them as well. So there's a number of challenges such that you want to maybe speak to the PR posture as well.
They're serving the province, which I feel is going to be a difficult thing. because Eastern Cape as a space and as a province, it's really draining. Thinking about
They are so
in the
divided. Kaloku.
yeah, PE is 0 for 1, meaning it's the door. You know, if PE cracks it nationally, everyone in the Eastern Cape is going to actually, you know, get access to what's happening. We've seen 01, Joburg. We've seen 02 getting their time. We've seen 03. Yeah, but now it's time for Unansega, for 04 to get this space. And then I'm thinking that Eastern Cape, Kuko is South Africa, Tinasa South Africa.
Yes.
And then Kuko is Sky, look at Transkei. It's going to be difficult. But then,
isn't that
say something?
Yakim, isn't that rest on the way, the kind of leaders that we have now that are sitting in those strategic positions of being able to, see to it to flourish. Yebo. Isn't that depends on the style of their leadership? Isn't that, what would hold things?
I think that's why we're speaking to the division of the provinces, South Africa, Ciskei and Transkei, because the leadership that's there now is still stuck on that. Yes. There's Ciskei, there's Transkei, and there's South Africa. And because they are in the positions they're trying to, almost drive things away from certain areas to focus on their areas that they're passionate about, without realizing that perhaps if we centralize the space as Sitile, it could be easier for us to make arts, and culture flourish. That's why the MBDA came up with that festival, Culture Capital, to declare Nelson Mandela Gqeberha as the culture capital of the Eastern Cape. Not to say, because Napina, in South Africa, where's the culture capital? It's Joburg.
Yes.
We cannot deny
if you talk Gauteng,
Did you get what I'm saying? You're speaking to Joburg.
If you speak Western Cape, you speak Cape Town.
If you speak KZN, you speak Durban.
Yeah.
So, ibalulekile lando. Ekugqibeleni, people who want the gold, right, in South Africa, they all flock to Joburg.
Yes.
They all run to Joburg so that they can be closer to the heat. Yes. Now we must decide, where do our people of Iphondo, Limpopo Kapa flock to when it comes to the goals of arts and culture? Right? And that's why MBDA then made that decision to say, it is Nelson Mandela Bay. I speak to artists who are based in King Williamstown, and they say, just every 2 weeks, because you guys are active, you guys are doing things, the movement
part
is there.
Of our team, we have Kejavu.
Yeah, exactly. Baneza feelings about because payana, you don't have to search for it. You look at the people and there's art. You can feel it. Art on a daily basis. But I myself, as an artist in King Williamstown, I have to go to work, then I have to come back and find gaps in between to express my art. But I feel like if I could spare some time to run to PE, then I pila fully at yam. And we must not deny that. We must rather, if we're saying we want to centralize, because the theatre is here physically. So we must therefore be able to say your programs must reach out. And that's what again speaks to PR and marketing. They must reach out for artists to be able to find their way to this center. Mhlambi, this guy, if we're going to refer Mhlambi, let's say East London, Imonti, it could be the center for business.
Yes.
We can't deny that as well. If that's where a business flourishes, that's where we must go for business.
Yes.
But if we're talking arts, we must understand that ilapa isource ilapa mgrave. And that's where you find that our political heads in these different things, they still want to be last week. Teach how to operate. A system is being perpetuated by these who are leading us now simply because they know nothing better.
No, you're right, Les. I think you're right, Pales. I'm thinking uba mhlawumbe bekunophiliswa lolanduka lo cancer leyo, because we're sitting with that cancer in the leadership strata because of everything is being politicized. You understand? Because the art in a economy art, and it as you say, like the gravy is here. You know what I mean? Now, the irony is that the people that are actually the gravy are the ones that are not getting the gravy. Just because of, as impediments being posed by people who are sitting in leadership. Because you must understand, i-art impilo and i-art idinga intoba i-artist zihlangane ukuze intoba nangabe i-art yalapha iphuhle even further. Because we have all these facets around ourselves. Right now, like, we are actually turning our spaces, small spaces, houses, sizenza ntoni, art spaces, because we understand the importance of art. Because impilo good, khona lento lezo that you mentioned, like you mentioned something that's very much important of a healer that actually showed into banagaba. It's not in the music, it's in the sound. So i-art iphila ngoske i-flourish i-art. If uzawufumana leadership create strain by not allowing spaces, by not allowing the artist to actually have these spaces. Kuzawuba nzima into yobana ngaba sikwazi ukudibana nabanye abantu asokwazi ubanika ifuthe in the Eastern Cape like now and at large. Abazokwazi ulifumana elifuthe the way they're supposed to.
Ngenye imini kuzawufuneka sincokole. I don't think I'm enough information, but I know that I am at pains with the demise of the influence he is the AVC.
AVC is a joke.
That's what I'm saying.
To me,
but remember,
it has always been, Leza. Before I wanted to engage the point here, leadership style from the people at helm who are holding the key positions.
Yes, sir.
So all I'm saying is, on that part is, it's not easy ubangabana esi style sabo siyazba istyle skabani sinje, because xa position ethile style sakhe sibanje, xa kwenye position style sakhe siyachinja. Like we've just spoken now about the journey to Indwetile Nelson Mandela Cultural Festival. This is what the institution was saying. Yafika xa kwindawo ethile yadeclarishwa siyincedisa isilwa, iyaphinde yatshintsha style sayo somehow of organizing izinto. And ngela xesha izawutshintsha, did it come to the people and say siyatshintsha ngoku senza le way? So istyle sabantu nendlela benza ngayo izinto, you can never really know indoba once ayifumane landa beyilwela kokoko, will they keep the same style? Yes, I just wanted to make that point. You were saying.
I was saying, AVC for me, when it started off, I did have hope and phonoposis. AVC managed to reach out. In the beginning. Remember, Shoelace was recorded by AVC from the program where they had that competition. They went to different spaces.
I think was part of that.
Yeah, they got different artists. Ba producer, ba copy albums. Shoelace were proud of it. They did it again. Kunyaka wesibini, I believe, where Onamapoto came second. Kulo competition leyo. Usayinduli was a person who was always, moving around art spaces. And mazike personally didibine naye AVC udibana kwamnaye. But I found that he was a person who was excited by the arts and being.
Were not from the Eastern Cape.
Don't worry about that. I think what's really important for me, beyond geographical background, for me, what I sensed from Mr. Ndoli was an excitement to try and turn the space around. And he did it in Geza artists. They traveled to around the country. They worked. We could see a difference in their lives. There were artists that were Ephondweni and whatnot, all recorded by the AVC. And Mr. Ndoli, you would see him at the arts festivals.
Yes.
That's
important.
He was there. And he would speak to an artist who was an performer, come and record under the artist support, AVC. I was performing at an event, AVC. It was not an AVC event, but the person had booked the space. Yes, and I performed there at the hall, and Saintuli came to watch. When I left that space, Saintuli came to me and said, "We need to archive your poetry." We must do this thing. You must come and record.
He was very proactive,
right?
right?
And he was. And we did it. I recorded my album under that program. I know Usai probably thought, so archive poetry, I'm gonna get there in Dimdod. I came through with a whole band, but he didn't turn me away. He didn't say, oh yeah, a whole band. We did it. He gave me my time to record, and it was excellent experience. So I feel like he was an artist. Yes, he was not from the Eastern Cape.
Understood.
Yeah, he was not from the Eastern Cape, but he was an artist, and he did dedicate himself. Under criticism because perhaps other people's experiences are not
Maybe
like that.
because you benefited.
Yeah, maybe because I benefited. But from observation, even before my benefit, this guy was everywhere where there was art. He's on Nduduzo, Makhathinis, were everywhere where there was art in the Eastern Cape. They're not from here originally, but they were moving in spaces, right? So, Sisa. Yeah, I think he's since passed on. He's since passed on to Sopazi. But he was everywhere where there was art. They were excited to create with us.
Didn't he die with the vision?
No, he can't have died with the
Probably.
vision. Oh my God.
No, probably.
He wasn't leading the vision though. But Mamel, he wasn't leading the vision.
No, you don't have to be in front to lead.
But Mamela, I don't know. Usisa was part of the vision. I don't believe he died with it. But I think once again, AVC politics interfered because after Mr. Nduli and the departure of guys like Nduduzo and whatnot, I think there was Uputi Uluyolo, the one who managed Gqeberha.
Yes.
You could still feel something happening, but I don't know what's happening now because after that particular guy in leadership, Uprasai, I don't know who came through. Wawusiva kusetyezwa. Yebana lantu ba mama waseforte mama uthi awuyazi bangibani kanye kanye. Yes, uyadibana nabo. The lady who used to do, I think, why take care of the artists as a native rhythms, Ustu also not from the Eastern Cape, but poured herself into her work. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes we're too attached to Lendo might benefit about the Eastern Cape. But remember, we haven't had an industry in the Eastern Cape. There are people with greater experience than us. Allow them to come in. Allow them to teach us for as long as they have a vision for where they are. They want to prosper in the space. People like us do, like us, I saw nothing but excellence from them.
Shout out to Nduduzo for the PhD.
PhD as well, yes. Nduduzo, to this day, he's still closely related with Umsaki and whatnot. He's still closely related with, he produced the album Umle as well. As now Piki Sabandu you know what I mean?
Urez Inyanzi has like great images as well.
Listen, guys, masinga phikisani nento enhle eyenzekayo. Ineni thetayo, the moment politics step in, kubekho le agenda of keep it here, lento may benefit. You're failing the people. Yayitravelisha AVC kwenza ntoni ucwaka AVC? Are those resources wasted? For instance, when I was in East London recently, I met up with Mr. Ndlovu, who was one of the engineers there. Met up with Ndlovu has set up his own space. Because he's also tired of these politics that interfere, because he understands that art must be for creatives. You can't block these spaces and
Jesus Christ.
It's
like
ndifuna ukubuza uba le PhD kaNduduzo ayo yaseforte because yathetha isezaseforte. Hey, a PhD yaseforte.
Trava.
Hey,
yaseforte mnanami. Yaseforte. Kaloku ban contact apha. I needed to know igama lakhe. Who's this guy? Mike Pasop. Yes, a Stellan Porsche. Yes, a Stellan Porsche.
Oh, okay, great.
hey.
I thought that it is ukivithu no utata Mike Pasop.
Give it.
Yeah, i-degree zakhe ziyi-2 sham.
Usifuna ngeshaqi.
Man basifumana ngeshaqi. Yabona onansi nalo PhD ya. Ude kodwa nabo man. Go for a diploma. They go for a PhD. Like, why? Like,
Ntsika khange ulifumana
Baba
igama lala tata.
kakhulu man.
Khange ulifumana igama lala tata benithetha ngaye? Who was a professor enemy?
Ayingoprofessor Velile noChulwana.
Kuyeka. Prof Nochulwana naye waphela enemy because
Oh.
kwathiwa
Jordan.
i-PhD yakhe ayikho proper
Yabona
wafunda kwi-American Institute
Le
so
way-
andiyalanda.
no yabona le way
Yeah.
le way i-right wrong yabo le way i-right wrong
Ndimthanda
andithethi ke phaa
njani tata
ngokivit
uNochulwana. Yes.
andithethi ngokivit nendomi nalo tata wale way kubantu abafana noPhalo Jordan yabo nalo tata ubani lo tata kwakhona
Tata uNochulwana.
Tata uNochulwana yabo the thing about them is they used to sit scholars down and they show brilliance yabo which is organic intellectualism baza nayo bayibeke apha because every time Tata Paulo Jordan goes on that
Listen.
podium and breaks things down hayi bakhamisa bonke so
Uskemaga sona.
kaloku guys education
Skema.
qala ngebhayibhile fundisa ibhayibhile that's why abantu abadala
man,
abafundileyo
guys. I was-
bebengo-reverend bonke abantu bakudala babefundile
Or reverend. They are revered.
ii-beeps zonke ezaa zinto you are not being taught information proper ufundiswa ngebhayibhile
Andingafuni unawothi imamela laa nto kaPhalo Jordan notata uVele notsha naxesha layo laa nto.
those are intellectuals we need to
Oh,
listen
naxesha
to
layo.
those
Whoa.
guys.
Oh, you've never
Hey,
met
but
Tata
it
uNochulwana, ne?
destroyed. It destroyed Upalo though. You never heard him say anything after that.
that.
But he has a lot to say that we need to listen
The
to.
thing is, guys, also in the Philish bar, hey man, I don't know, man. I feel like maseke nochuku sometimes. Maseke nochuku and focus on the excellence and kukho abantu ufundini abarani companies beno standard 8 from apartheid times. That's not wrong.
Soza abantu bangabi nachuku. I was looking at some there's this Regency. It's a private college. Apparently it has like so many campuses around the world, Mumbai, South Africa. I don't know what's the third one. I think in Nigeria they also have, but it's a global network. So I was looking at them. Yeah, bo. We cost your LLB is like 400K. So bazaliyeka njani chuku abe umntu ebhatale 400K wena ufika urhuqe yena utshayele ngaye izitrato ngoku yena bekhuphe 400K wena wawugqibele ngala R2 wawuyikhuphile as i-school fund eBensnoek.
And I feel that even for instance, I say I don't know, in Landoka Prof Nochulwana yayithatha nge-American Institute awayefunde kuzo caba ke athi yole bayabhadala nabo qha ke yiloo nto dinga wethu ndiyazi accreditation wawubuyibukele i-carte blanche yala tata the law une college yabefundisi for the Pentecostal churches. Khona pha ku-YouTube zakunika ilink yakhona. So Clay's investigating this money-making element about these Pentecostal churches. And this white guy, he I think unometric qha if I'm not mistaken, but wava ke ilizwi lisithi makabe ngumprofeti, also makavule icollege yakhe. So ngoku une college yakhe is operator ke ina branches different ezinye samabobosini akhondo uyakhupha diploma, higher education certificates, masters, all the way to basically PhD, right? Now kuvelela way back, but you usiyile kasakho, you are not accredited. And wabeqonda akazosokolisa wavule yakhe Accreditation Institute.
Yes.
Akhupha i-degree zakho uyabuzwa ukule. So wena uyabafundisa abantu uphinda kwawena nguwe i-Accreditation Institute yale institution yakho. What? Yes.
Nangu uyesu wena abafundi abayi-12.
Janga ukle ungicingisela wega besithethe last week kubani lo besitha ngaye ibinguChriselda ibemangaziwe kubani ubhuti weSoweto Parliament.
Enhlanhla.
Ibemangaziwe nguNhlanhla uChriselda janga ukle was like that. So you confer these degrees and you accredit yourself as well. You are the accreditation. Like, yeah, I am. God, wow, this guy.
But I think
I think they also pay for the things that they go through. And also, yazi ilando indenza uvalo xa even when the slightest thing efuneka ndiyenzile ndiqonda eish benditheka nene oyakhima bavote bama kubekho umuntu owinayo. The next thing bendibawela mna kuwina uNtsika but ndiyabona ba i-competition is between Pete noNtsika and ndim ndodwa ne-access to the information. Ndiyoyika uwinisa uNtsika ngingane because kuye kufike laa nto uba ngenye imini 20 years down the line someone will have access to my WhatsApp ngendlela elingayaziyo ufumaniseka uba ngokuya laa mini osithi masivote actually kwawina uBeat not uNtsika. Uyabona zizinto ezincinci ezinjeya ezenza laa nto where we do these little things and innocently sometimes uphume ke ngoku later on our dirty linen ndoni. I remember listening to the interview ka-Advocates Kakani that I recommended to you as well with Susan Welsh.
Watching dope stuff, eh? Recommendations.
Yeah,
now,
yes.
Yeah.
With Susan Welsh and uyathetha pha yonke le nto ayithethayo ke that I want you to listen to and I'd like the listeners, you're the viewers, just the viewers, our friends to also watch and experience. Uthi pha xa ethethayo yonke le nto ithethayo ewe ndiyayithetha and ndiyayazi how risky it is to say this because even now as I speak this truth soon after iphuma le episode uzawufumanisa uba khona le group izawuassignwa to go and investigate 58 cents esazilibala uyibhatala ngenye imini because that's how the system works. And he also says ba the system works this way because abantu abamnyama are still in bondage.
USARS is like USARS is South Africa. Usetyenziswa as kuthiwa yintoni nje besinengxaki zazo wane. Yeah, i-pitbull yase-South Africa.
Yeah. Benimamele advertise sazi over here.
Yeah, USARS i-pitbull yase-South Africa. If wena wenze into okanye uthethe into asavana nayo maske siyojonga ifinances zakho
bazimi kanjani
khona into esizayifumana pha. That's how bad it is. So now we are misusing state resources.
True that.
Yeah, IsiXhosa Festival, are you inspired? Are you going? Are you booked?
Well, am I going? That's a deep question. Am I going?
How deep is this? Are you going to the gig or not?
Am I going to the gig or not? Well, some of my friends are performing. Unsika Nganga is performing. Dumza Maswana is also there. Zimstoy Rufin is there.
No two gangs man dimlo performer.
Wow.
Hello ni unsika qha and
yes, yeah, Unsika Nganga. So the cut up a bit. George Meko is at the helm of it, a beautiful friend of mine as well.
Yeah, he's a dope guy.
Kudos to the podcast. It's just my worry. One day, some of the artists I spoke to, they were being offered 10,000 rands to come with a band, which I felt was what? I did perform at the first IsiXhosa Music Festival, and as a band I didn't get paid that much. So what is this regression about? I'm not too sure.
I didn't pay that much. When was it? 2010?
It was 2019 or was it 19? No, 19 might be too soon. It was probably 16, 17, yeah. Mazizi, a great person. I'm not too sure what's happening now. Maybe he sold the concept to Mr. Meko or whatever. But I also understand it's sponsored by the municipality. So I'm not too sure where to in the as masipala phakathi ziyathanda uzireduce artists, yabo. And at the same time you always want to be careful of speaking against something as though you're speaking against the artists that are involved in it, or the progression of that thing, because the IsiXhosa Music Festival is a great necessity in terms of festivities zaseBhayi, and the artists must perform there. But I'm just saying, in there's no masipala, mhlambi we really do need that conversation, that big meeting that puts finality on the rates zobatali artists that come from the from the local areas, and also to be able to say ngamanye amaxesha mhlambi for a lineup to be a great lineup, it does not need to be so filled with so many national or international artists. Mhlambi you could have a Ringo, a Dumza, and Sika, and that's it. Or, an Amanda, and no. 3 main artists, and then, be able to pay the local artists something great. And also by doing that, you're also putting those artists in the forefront forefront so that bade babe ne support base esebhayi. I don't know. There's many things in this
to consider, because also I'm thinking when it comes to abantu balapha Ephondweni, xana una 2 or 3, and then you have abantu babo, would they support that? Because also, more especially Gqeberha, sometimes is support towards their own. Yeah,
that's why I'm saying three or 4 of those main acts, and then you know, that would enable you pour more money as well into the local artists that would be performing there. Remember, abantu basePhondweni.
I'd love to go there. I'd love to go.
I think I want a VIP ticket.
Yeah, I want
hello,
to go and
sponsor VIP. You might need VIP
yeah.
ticket 1,000, 1.5.
I don't know.
That's guys need to sponsor, get VIP ticket. Okay. Mr. Meko, Tamako Puti. I know he watches
I'd
as well.
love to go there and check it out. What's the concept about and whatnot? Because for sure, from Ixesha lika Putmazizi to Unanseka Uput George,
obviously, yeah. It was great to it too. First time I got fashion. I think it was San Goddess that was showcasing, but I'm not too sure. Okay. But while the people were singing, actually models, the stage, it was just beautiful. The food as well was Xhosa inspired. So
I know artists who came from East London and they couldn't get into the venue and they were booked to perform. Yeah, so there's been different sides.
I had a great experience.
And it ends there.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I really had a great experience, and a person like George Meko is a person who I believe to be a creative and a lover of the arts as well. So
he's the one who inspired Indoba Kuthethwe Business of the Arts. Remember 2004 when we had Inkokeli Consultancy.
He's from Colony,
no, way before that.
Before Colony, okay.
Inkokeli Consultancy that was based in Constantina, Pier 14. Where Onansika. Oh, yeah.
And they came out to blow
in Magna. We need to know this because we are archiving the history, so we need to know this thing.
Yeah.
So Pana Oscota, Babe Yenzile Lando, Ochino, or Hades, or Primila, and then they used to go to Eswe. They were being taught the business of music. Yeah. And I think that was back in 2004 during the Urban Connection times. So he's someone who has always had a thing for the arts.
No. I'm a believer in his strides that he's making. As I say, I think sometimes the municipal influences, they limit movement, organizers in terms of how far they can reach, and also just being part of stepping into another festival that's coming, being part of his Splash. I'm part of the organizing committee, and to realize that sometimes is fine. Because you wanted the people spoke. Was it 2021, 2022? 2022. Lambizo, arts. And the PE artist said, if quiz festivals or Splash or Ephondweni, you're going to book national artists as draw cards and whatnot, kindly ensure that your national artist has origins in PE or at least the Eastern Cape.
Okay.
But to this day, that's not being done.
It's fair because KZN is doing it.
Yeah. So what they've done, I think this year we're gonna have a blackie as a draw card. And the buhle wamapiano.
Oh, I love blackie.
So no buhle wamapiano. Yes, we're gonna go and celebrate and dance, but at the end of the day, you're still going to come back to the conversation that says all that money left the Eastern Cape. I can send it out back home. Do you know what I mean?
It's not gonna circulate around.
Exactly. It's unlike perhaps getting a zonke just for a quick point of reference. Do you get what I mean? It's unlike getting a Simpiwa Dana. It's unlike getting a heavy K. umzekelo, it's unlike getting an Amanda Black. Yeah, yeah.
Kukho le way ngoku yoba we are moving. That's the Nancy kuthiwa in Orlando. As amaxesha technology improves and whatnot, ezinye izinto sizishiya ngasemva, such as sasine vinyl, sasine cassette, sasine CD. It's gone now. We're streaming and artists ziyakhala. You can have 6 million streams and get 57K. Xana ubuzithengisela and whatnot. And Uzonke wants to curb this thing. And then Uzonke is selling CDs, vinyls, and like physical copies. But people are crying. Pricing yakhe.
It's in the pricing in CD.
CD 450.
Oh, I don't know. That's amazing.
If I go, I sent it to USB 750.
Oh, yes, back. Look, because back. The USB is amazing.
I don't know. It's the album. The album Ambo. Look, now, Gqeberha, I love today's episode. Everyone has an opinion. Yeah.
Don't you think in the way I understand that target market she's not selling to everyone. She understands abantu who listen to her music can afford that. Or at least the ones she's paying attention to.
Okay.
It's a good point. Maybe it's a Makhathinis.
Finally, where is I get it?
Smag.
Hey, it's Smag.
Yeah.
Yeah, South African brand, ne?
I don't know.
Khona manje ngoku angeya smack likhumshile ligama laka smack khona la ketile yathengwa ngo Black Coffee guys
was it Zimkita or whatnot ezazine prince zenansi
wathenga Black Coffee pha wathi uphi ngiqombe Black Coffee ya floor
I don't know guys, I think we must visit kuzo zonke ingalo, because is she running a business or a charity?
No, look, she's running a business. It's important uba ngabana makarane i-business. This is music. Music it's not like fabric and things like that. It's music. Yes, you wanna be an A-lister artist, but then you still submit to an SABC radio station that broadcasts to people noma basemagalini ematyotyombeni noma kanjani naphi na, and they still love your song and they would love to own it and they do not want to bootleg it, but then 450 for them it becomes something
USB.
else.
Guys, I'm really not trying to be controversial about this topic. Maybe I don't want to drag it for too long. But if you look at Uzonke and look at Uzahara's market is slightly different. And I think that's why she attracts the big masses, because I don't think a target audience Kazahara would be suitable for that price.
No, Mamela Gqeberha ndiyakuva mna ne business wise, but also ndifuna uza nje nakwi element ye overpricing sometimes just because you uthi uyayazi market yakho uyabona lando ikhona into enjalo. Remember i-USB ezawungena ingoma eziyi-16 umzekelo unless kufakwe catalog yonke, because that's a whole different conversation if it's the entire catalog yakazonke. But if it's an album ezawuba 16 tracks mhlawumbi, let's just say i-USB ezawuthatha those many tracks, i-USB yi-gig
Also, yeah.
less than a gig. Yanfumana sensiya nje at pricing all the elements that put it together.
Yeah.
Yes, ibangathi steep ke ngoku xa ujonga just the core of the things, unless izawufika wethu umama mwadla ngothi ke xa izakukhupha mama bezakukhupha i-750 for i-USB kazonke ebezawuthi mama inoba izawuzifaka apha ekhompyutheni izidlali.
I just think
inoba ndizawuthi skip yabona lana.
I just think for the benefit of the podcast, because it's a public platform, we don't want to stir up people unnecessarily. You've got a valid point. I was just raising another point that maybe...
No, it's beautiful. No, look, it's beautiful. And I think, Tina, what we need to do is to check, because you can add value to your album by having an EPK on there, have a mini documentary, the making of this thing, or each song being explained through a video and whatnot, so that when you get
Then
this
we
thing,
understand
you understand
value for money.
value yayo, eating and whatnot. But I can't wait to just get the USB and see what's in here.
And
I
also
think at
get
that
share
time
mhlambe
we'll
protector
have-
as well ingazo copy share, I don't know uba ikhona into enjalo. Also when it comes to it's not protected. You're gonna crack it.
Yeah.
Then this out ne yona guys dibonile mna when I was selling my album noba ke ayo album ithing say 10,000 100,000 whatever, but in a value lando yokuthi xa uye ku-event upakishe city zakho zibe 50 ubuye ungaziphethanga because abantu baku-event ba-excited right now.
Yes.
Vis-a-vis ukuya ku-event i-album yakho uzustreamena ilink hayi ayisebenzi mntanam. People want to go home bedlala into yakho, so mna ndiyayifunda le nto ye-USB. I
Physical
like
copies.
it. Physical copies
I
still
think
work.
with the USB and what we'll use is izinto as lap, but physical copies, artists must never leave them. They must have as a way, because it's direct cash that you get now. Apha xa ubumke kungekho mbane endlini uyakwazi pha uthengise ubuye uthenga umbane kanti uthenga umbane apha endleleni.
No, iyasebenza laa nto
So
ezo-USBs.
it's very important. I saw a post kaZane. Zane is frustrated by graphic designers. Graphic designers, they delay when they have to work. And then usiyakwazi uthi sakhupha into ngexesha elithile ingaphumi ngenxa yento yoba ngabana there's no logo, there's no graphics, there's and all these things. And then the same post was intercepted by Ulaki, that in Ulaki's mfowethu. And I think for la party yale into zawungena kuyo, we will need to just have him asicacisele ngalaa because he's big on it. Indoba in ku AI, artificial intelligence. We've seen the Pope online, eseklabhini, Pope esestratweni, with the hip hop gear and all of these things, but with this work yakhona. So ChatGPT is a reality yakhona elapha where you can go and instruct it to do le nto ufuna uyenze, uyixelele into yoba ngabana ndifuna mna ndibe sekhaphini ikofu. Or anything. And then Elon Musk and his partner, but hey, the new developments must halt for 6 months is on. Because apparently this artificial intelligence is just getting to the next level. So ingaba, are we acquainting ourselves with this thing, or are we still gonna cry about graphic designers not coming through and doing the work for us? Have you tried ChatGPT and things like that?
I have a graphic designer.
I tried it, it's fine.
Aspitology.
That thing is on another level. It's more like it's more like coding, but like less of strain of coding. You know what I mean? You can make beats on that. You can just tell, like, just the voice note up. And then, you know what I mean?
It does the thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hectic.
So it's a very interesting future that we're going towards.
Yeah, yabana lana ndidla ngoyithela lana ba art imitates life, life imitates art.
Yeah.
Lendo AI coming through so fast, and in Kumbuza, you said you didn't watch that movie. Ushi, another recommendation for today. Yeah, recommendation episode.
I was like, yeah.
So on this guy falls in love with an iPhone operating system, iOS. Yeah. And you know, uyangena endlini, babes, zithini emails zami namhlanje, atsho ke usiri pha unegama eli-different ke pha obviously ancokole bajonga kayibhatala ibhili ethile ndizibekele ecaleni fact kwenzele i-folder special for this and that, you missed, you know, email kabani khange uyiphendule, okay khamphendule uthi bayancokola ne-iOS. And eventually there comes a time when now they must actually meet because now love yakhula, the iOS nayo in love no man, the real man is in love. Kuhayarishwe ibody yomntu, umzimba. Gqeberha umzimba akathethi ukuthe cwaka. Yanqonqoza nje uze ku-dating 7 o'clock uphekile wena. For you and the iOS, the body experiences the food on behalf of the iOS. The kissing happens on behalf of the iOS. Now the iOS is jealous because the sexing is with the body. So aren't we chasing such times where, because also soloko sihlele ezindlini yabona i-lockdown isifundisa away, aren't we gonna ndiyaxabana nosiri efonini yam ndibe busy ba call Maki, ithi who ithi Maki ndiyabona, so I'm taking it personal ngokuxa engandiva bandithini, uyazibona that so sooner or later these things are gonna start becoming real.
We're going
crazy.
there. It's been a beautiful one, man. Let's call it a day. See you next time.
Siyabonga, salutations.
Danko.
Yeah.